Welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Phil Risher, and on today's episode, we're going to be diving into how home service businesses can turn their truck wraps into a sales machine with Corey Moskowitz. Thanks so much for joining us today, Corey.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Corey Moskowitz is the founder and CEO of Transpromotion and Fleetworks. His company helps businesses turn trucks into mobile billboards, reaching thousands of potential customers every single day. What makes it even more powerful is how they generate digital tracking to make these campaigns measurable. That's actually how he started. Now he helps home service businesses with their truck wraps, turning them into sales machine, which is more importantly what we're going to talk about today. So, Corey, can you share a little bit like how did you get into this whole thing? Truck wraps, tracking performance, ads, all that?
Yeah, totally by accident. So I've been in tech for a long time. Most of my career has been in tech sales. I've run companies on the software side, hardware side, and most recently in that space, I was running a small managed IT firm,
Hmm.
and we did a lot of advertising, mainly out of home, right? So
Yeah.
billboards and the like. And I just felt like there had to be a better way, right? Billboard advertising is so expensive, it's crazy. So I started this truck side ad company called Transpromotion, which is really focused on kind of transitioning some of that. And very quickly realized we had to find a way to validate who was seeing our trucks as a
Yeah.
way to prove an ROI, right? That technology, unfortunately, didn't really exist, in terms of availability in the market. So we kind of put it together and started our own thing and developed the technology as a way to prove how many people were seeing the trucks, right? And um, kind of an unintended byproduct of that was we started capturing mobile ID data, which
Mm.
is ultimately how you then digitally retarget a specific audience. And so very quickly we realized that the mobile ID data was probably way more valuable than our truck side ad business. And
Yeah.
so we then started Fleetworks, which is really focused in the home service space and taking that technology to the home service market.
Yeah. And that was the main reason why I said, hey, like we need to definitely have a conversation. So I've talked to Corey over probably the past 6, 7, 8 months. And the premise of it, from my understanding, is that home service businesses have trucks that are wrapped. Your technology goes into the OBD port where someone would typically have like a geo tab or some Fleetmatics type of thing that's going to keep track of their drivers. But the real technology that you've created is that now, as people are driving with their truck wraps, anyone that's around them, it would build this database of people that have seen their truck wraps, but
Yeah.
then you can market to those people.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, home service companies have done the hard work, right? They've branded themselves and their vehicles, and usually in a really, really effective way. They just don't have the ability to take that to the next level, right? To capture that kind of what I'll call wild impression, right? The truck being seen out on the road or in a neighborhood or in the communities that they're already doing work in and they want more work in.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we help them understand who's being exposed to those trucks every day. And then more importantly, give them the ability to now digitally retarget, serve ads through Meta like Facebook and Instagram, but Google, you could serve ads through streaming audio and OTT or connected video even. So now your ability to target the people that are already exposed to your brand through your trucks is limitless.
Yes. So if I'm hearing you right, someone's driving down the highway, they see your truck, then they get to their destination, open up their phone and go on Facebook, and now they see an ad from you because they just saw your truck on the highway.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal, right? Is that you're exposed to the truck, and then maybe a day or two later you're getting an ad through Facebook or Instagram just because you were exposed to that truck,
Yeah.
right? And so it's brand recognition, frequency. We're trying to create density in the market, right? Again, understanding that most of these guys want more work in the communities they're already in. And if we can help shorten time between service calls by creating more service calls in that market,
Yes.
we're driving profitability, which is so key.
Yeah, you're 100% right. So I want to back up a little bit about the truck wraps and the billboards and that kind of stuff because a lot of people, that listen to the show are like 1 to 10 million home service businesses. they have some truck wraps, maybe they haven't invested a ton into that, or they've tried different things. Do you have any best practices for like mobile advertising, truck wraps? Should they have QR codes? Should they have offers? Should they have tracking numbers, vanity, all that kind of stuff? I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this because I think you've done this for like tens of thousands of cars or something,
Yeah.
billboards and stuff, right?
Yeah, we got a lot going on. Generally speaking, I think less is more when it comes to billboards, but specifically, this kind of notion of mobile billboards, right? Truck advertising, or leveraging branded fleet. And I think sometimes we're as business owners, a lot of times we want to evangelize ourselves to the fullest extent. And you've got to understand that that's not always that's not the best place to do it on the side of your vehicle, right? So, logo, brand, that's the extent of it, I think, right? Maybe a few things of what you do and maybe the markets you serve, but ultimately you're trying to incite the customer to come to you to get more information, right? And or maybe we're going to hit them with ads later, and you want to create that familiarity so that someone actually engages with the ad. It is very easy to overdo it when it comes to advertising in general, but specifically on vehicles. And you mentioned QR codes. The only time that I've ever seen a QR code work in a mobile setting is if you're giving away something of value.
Hmm.
And if you're not giving away something of value, you will get no engagement from a QR code on a vehicle.
Yeah, I think that's very important. Like people are not driving down the highway trying to scan your stuff. They're going to see your name and maybe your brand and colors, and then they're going to go to Google and type in a branded search of some sort.
Yeah.
So with the ads, have you seen that? Okay, they see your truck, and then you serve up another branded display ad of some sort, or is then you would have some call to actions? Have you seen any structure on like how you should go about retargeting people after they've seen your truck?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different strategy around the actual act of the retargeting piece, right? We've got a number of customers that will only retarget mobile ad IDs that are seen by their fleet multiple times a week, right? Because they just want that customer, a potential customer that's constantly being viewed. Um, we've got folks that are using it as more of a brand awareness play, right? So the digital content they're serving literally mirrors what the vehicle is showing. Same design, same color, same logo, same, look and feel. It really just depends on the strategy of the individual business. I think one of the things that makes this a little more pertinent today, maybe than it has in the past, is that the way consumers interact with search is very different today than it has been ever. Certainly in the last couple of years. When you go into Google and as a consumer and we type in air condition repair near me, right?
Yeah,
The first couple results that pop up, we now know are all paid, right? Like
yeah, yeah.
people are buying those. And so a lot of consumers now are scrolling past that. They're looking for the organic search results. And another kind of interesting phenomenon is happening where they're looking for companies that they are already familiar with, right? Because people want to do business with familiar entities.
That's right.
So it's not they're not clicking on the first result. They're looking for logo, brand, name that they recognize, and then they start to dig in and might look at reviews and all the other stuff that goes into that. But I think that's our job as marketers is to create brand familiarity in the space.
Yeah, that's right. The search for HVAC near me and you can show up on that, great. But the ultimate keyword that you want is your company's name being searched because people know about your brand. And that's
Right.
really what you're after. I want to take a little bit of a step back and dive a little into technology because people are probably saying, okay, well, how does it know? AI's got my
Right.
IP address, like,
Right.
can you talk a little bit about like, okay, a truck is driving by the OBD, then it pings onto maybe your cell phone, and then it knows something else about you, and it kind of ties all this dots together. What does that
Yeah.
look like?
It's far less scary than that.
Okay.
Um, so first of all, the first question I always get is this legal?
Yeah.
And the answer is yes.
Okay.
So basically what happens is we put a beacon in all of the vehicles. To your point, it plugs into the OBD port. It is built on a traditional GPS telematics backbone, right? We then are overlaying cellular or mobile device data on top of that GPS data, right?
Okay.
Which is ultimately what allows us to understand the specific cell phones that come in contact with those trucks. So it's not necessarily a direct relationship with the device. It's not a Bluetooth signal. It's more geospatial data relative to the truck and the mobile device. An important distinction, though, is that we are not capturing any user defined data.
Mm,
So, mobile ad IDs are the kind of alphanumeric identifier that lives in a device, in a cell phone. It doesn't know that it's Phil's cell phone. It just
yeah.
knows that that phone came in contact with that vehicle,
Mm,
right? So that's important on a few different levels. First of which is, um, if we were capturing that user defined data like that, we would have to get approval pretty much
permission.
every time we
Yeah.
interacted. Um, all of the data we're gathering, these mobile ad IDs, are all opt in only data. So, you know how when you download an app, it'll ask you, do you want to share your data once, only
Yes.
while using the app, never?
Yes.
Depending on how what selection you make is ultimately what dictates your willingness to share that data. And so if you've selected a few different options, we're able to pull that data under certain circumstances. So that's the data we're collecting, and then that's the data we're providing back to the home service company so that they can advertise, target that specific device.
I got you. So someone downloads Facebook, they just check off the privacy policy thing, whatever that is that Facebook has. Facebook's now on your phone, so it knows that ID number. Then it comes in contact with your thing. So then when you upload this list or somehow it connects, it kind of puts it all together for you. And then it's like, oh, here's this person.
Yep, exactly
Yeah.
right.
Okay. All that makes sense. You mentioned about a radius. Is it like, 10-mile radius? Is it like a couple lanes over or like how does
Yeah.
that work?
So that's a good question. It's a 20-meter radius.
Okay.
Now, for those of you in the U.S.,
Yeah.
that's 65 feet, right? So roughly 65 feet
Okay.
around the vehicle. Um, that's very intentional, right? We want to keep that radius pretty tight. And the reason for that is because we only want to capture people that have the real potential to see the brand. We're
Yeah.
not interested in capturing people a half mile away, because the reality is, these a lot of these are pickups, sprinter vans, that kind of thing. They're not huge vehicles, and so the ability to see them from a distance is limited.
Yeah.
So we want to capture a pretty tight radius. Again, our goal here is kind of leveraging and doubling down on a truck sitting in a driveway in a neighborhood, and people coming in and out of that neighborhood as they're leaving or going to work and that kind of thing, or as the truck is driving from service call to service call. It's parked at a gas station. It's at the supermarket on the weekends or a little league game. We want to capture all of that.
Yeah. That makes complete sense. When you started this, it was to try to prove out some type of an ROI. So how does that all correlate into this? Is there a component to that, or how do you try to figure that out?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, it's kind of um, on the home service company and their marketing person, agency, whoever that relationship is with.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for us, we're not serving the ads, right? We're simply providing the
Yeah.
data. So it's very difficult for us to at the end of the day, prove an ROI in this space. Anecdotally, we hear from our clients that they're seeing great results. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got HVAC companies or irrigation companies, landscape companies that are saying, "Hey, we had our best year ever, and 90% of that increased volume came from, you know, Facebook
This.
or whatever that mechanism is." And look,
Yeah.
can we say that all came from us? Of course not. But I think we could certainly draw some correlation there for sure.
Yeah. I think for me, the moral is like if you value brand and you're investing in a truck wrap of some sort, this is another tool that you can leverage a truck wrap to actually build more brand
Right.
online and taking an offline in the wild into actually online retargeting real people that have seen your brand.
That's right.
Yeah. What about down the line, like with this technology, are there more things that you could do? I can imagine with AI and different things, there's so many different ways that now you can start to layer in ads or to communication.
It's crazy. I mean, I constantly talk to clients that are using it in different ways. I mentioned, streaming audio and video, and
Yeah.
I mean, Amazon is now kind of playing with the idea of opening up their ecosystem for non-Amazon sellers to advertise, which is a whole nother
Yeah.
opportunity. So there's an immense amount of development being done on the ad service side. Um, and obviously that has nothing to do with us, but as long as
Yeah.
those folks are ingesting mobile ad IDs, we're able to serve in that space. I will tell you one of the unique things, again, because we're built on a GPS backbone.
Mm.
We've had a number of our clients say to us, "Hey, look, we've already got a GPS solution in place. We're using a Verizon Connect or
Yeah.
whatever it is. Can we utilize your service?" And so in that case, we're just turning on the GPS solution for them. We don't charge extra for it because it's
Mm.
already in the vehicle.
Yeah.
So you know that's a huge benefit, and it's full scale telematics, right? It's got alerting, it's got geofencing, it's got the ability for maintenance. I mean, all of it.
Yeah.
You can even integrate two-way AI dash cams. So the capabilities on that side are tremendous. Then when you layer in all of the digital and marketing components that we're gathering, it's really kind of a no-brainer. The best part about this solution, Phil, truthfully, is the cost. It ranges anywhere from, let's say, $50 to $60 a month per truck.
Yeah.
It's not a heavy lift, right?
Yeah.
So, again, we understand that you still have advertising dollars that you've got to deploy, but it's not something that's going to break the bank.
Yeah. I completely agree with you on that. That it's a fraction of anything that you would be spending, but more importantly, you probably already have these tools that you're paying for anyways. That now
Right.
you can unlock a whole bunch of other ways that you can leverage your vehicle to actually generate money for you. I used to be in the fleet management space. That's how I got into home service space in general. And we used to sell these tools like Geotab, Fleetmatics, whatever that you plugged in, and it was more of a keep track of your fleet, make sure your guy's not speeding, check your check engine light, more preventative. Where if you're already paying for that, why not turn this into some type of a sales marketing opportunity and then couple the two with your digital ads on top of it?
Right.
Yeah, pretty cool. So obviously the home service base, is there any like, hey, you need this many trucks to really see some effect on this, or what do you think?
Yeah, there's really not. And we work with a whole bunch of different clients in a lot of different sectors. I mean, most of them obviously are in the home service space, but
Yeah.
truthfully, it's anybody with a branded fleet, right? Anybody that's taken the time to brand their trucks can benefit from this. Um, our average client size is about 6 to 8 vehicles.
Oh, okay.
um, Average, right? So we've got
Yep.
some that have a lot more, and we've got a lot that have a lot less. We've got a number of folks that are running two, three, four trucks. Um, the reality is, the guys running two, three, four trucks are probably fairly tight in their service radius, right?
Yep.
So let's help them to develop that density within that space, and that's what we're after, right? So it really doesn't matter how many. What matters is how many mobile ad IDs we're generating off of those vehicles. And, depending on market, right, everybody's a little different if it's urban or more rural. We're seeing anywhere from, say, 2,000 to 3,000 mobile ad IDs per week per vehicle.
Mm.
And that audience just continues to build over time, right? So it may be, if someone's got 5 vehicles and they're seeing 3,000, it starts at 15,000 mobile ad IDs this week. Next week, you're up to 30. Then the week after, you're at 45,000. It just grows very, very
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah. It brings up an interesting question. People might be asking this. It might be in the weeds a little bit, but is there any way to set like a radius? Like most of the companies, they're in more like main city areas, but their technicians would live more rural and they're driving an hour, and then they
Right.
might not want people to see their truck way out here.
Yep.
I would imagine when you get the data, you can dissect it and drill down when you're running ads, like don't show it out here and that kind of stuff. But is there anything like that?
There isn't currently.
Okay.
To your point, you can manipulate the ad delivery,
Yes.
right? So I've got this huge collection of data, and I say, okay, I want to serve ads to all of these people, except people that live outside of this zip code, what have
Yeah.
you. However, we do have the technology in place. Again, being built on a GPS platform, we've got the ability to start geofencing um, the service areas. We
Yeah.
just haven't been able to develop that fully yet. So it's in process. It's something that we understand is a dire need, truthfully, and one that I think will be coming online pretty quickly.
Yeah. Cool. With the geofencing, from what I know about it, is like if your technician leaves a certain area, you can get notified of that specific thing happening, and then obviously you don't want your car in California if you're in New York or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And so we would use that on the data collection side to say, hey,
Exactly.
look, if that technician left this radius, we don't want to collect those mobile ad IDs.
Yeah. Exactly. So you're already thinking step way far ahead, so you you're good. What about any challenges coming up in the future? Like, do you think people are going to be cracking down on people getting access to their data and all this kind of stuff, or is it more of a wild west situation? Or
Yeah, you know what's crazy? I mean, we've heard for the last number of years that, third-party cookies are going
yeah,
away and,
yeah,
all of this stuff. I think what makes what we're doing really attractive is we're capturing first-party data,
mm,
right? So even as things start to tighten in the world of advertising, right? And by the way, those have been kind of idle threats. I'm not
yeah,
sure that third party
I agree.
cookies are actually going away. But in the event they do, the data we're collecting is first party data, right? We're pulling it directly from the device. Um, you know, Having said that, I mean, there's always things that are changing, and you never know, what's going to happen. I will tell you from the user perspective, um, more users share their data than they probably realize.
Just check the box. Yeah, I'm good
Yeah,
with
it's
it.
easy, right? Like, they make it super easy to say yes. In fact, it's very difficult to say no. So, most people are sharing their data, whether they know it or not. And the reality is, I think most consumers kind of like that interaction from advertisers, right? Because ultimately, and we can say it's Big Brother, and it's kind of scary that
Yeah,
my Amazon Alexa is listening to me and all of that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, it gives advertisers the ability to really target people that are interested in certain products and services. And there's value to that as a consumer.
yeah, that's right. As much as people complain, sometimes people get on Instagram and they like all the ads that are served to them because it's perfectly fit for exactly what they want.
That's right.
Or
That's
Facebook,
right.
whatever. Yeah. Cool, Corey. This has been great, man. Where should people go to learn about this, or do they get a demo, or do they sign up, or what's that look like?
Yeah, usually it's just a kind of a brief conversation with somebody on my team, myself or someone on the team. And there's a few things we need to understand from them in terms of what they're doing today and how they operate. But it's pretty easy. Literally, the beacons themselves are plug and play, so we ship them
Yep.
out. We don't, they plug right into the OBD port. So you can check us out at fleetworks.us. That's fleet, WORX.us. And yeah, I mean, there's a ton of information there. There's an opportunity, I think, on the site to actually book a kind of an exploration meeting. And yeah, it's pretty easy.
Cool, man. Well, yeah, it's been great. Keep it up. I know you're crushing it. We were talking offline, but it's like this is not just some random thing that people are doing. It's really catching on a lot, and I think it's going to continue to be a big push for home service businesses, specifically that want to grow their business.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. So
Yeah,
this is not a space I grew up in, and I'm enjoying it. I'm getting out and meeting a lot of great people, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
yeah, I love it, man. We'll keep it up, and excited to share this episode, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, man.